Okay, here we are at step 6. We're nearly done. This is the home stretch. So now we're going to take all of our blocks. We've got our 9-patch blocks and our solid blocks, and we're going to put them in sets for the rows that we'll be making. So look at the instructions. We're going to do 4 stacks where the pieced block is on the ends, and 3 stacks where the solid block is on the ends. So it'll be a total of 7 rows. So go down to the table here. So 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is the second one, where the pieced blocks are the ones on the ends. Here's our third one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the third one. Got to do a fourth one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the fourth one. So there are all of the rows where we've got a pieced block on either end. Remember, the top row and the bottom row are like that in this particular design. So we put those to one side. Now we've got to do 3 where there's going to be a solid block on either end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the second one. One more. And if we've done our math right, we've got exactly enough blocks, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Okay, so we've got 4 with a piece block on the 2 ends, and we've got 3 with a solid block on the 2 ends. So all we're going to do now is just sew these together into rows. Then we'll go over to the ironing board and iron seam allowances in one direction. And that is step 6. So I'll see you at the sewing machine. Okay, here we go. We are ready to start sewing the blocks together. Remember, one of the things we want to do is make sure that we have the final seam allowance that we ironed when we put the blocks together, all going the same direction. Doesn't matter which way. I'm going to make sure it's all pointing down. So line this up. I'm not going to do this chain piecing style. I'm going to do this completing a row at a time, just because it'll be a little bit easier for you to follow along with me that way. This is pretty simple. We're just sewing rows together. You notice I'm doing the rows that have the solid blocks on the ends first. Just happens to be the way I set them down here over my machine. There we go. Did I get those going the right way? I did. Now if you're doing the twin size, remember you've got more of these blocks in your rows and you've got more rows. So make sure you're checking your math there. Here we go. And line that up at the end. And one more block for this row. At this point it gets pretty straightforward. Seam allowances going the right way. We did. Okay, let's line this up. Okay, there we go. So there's the first of the rows. We just got to do 6 more.
Okay, so here we are at the ironing board. I think I mentioned when we were learning how to do this that you can just iron these seam allowances all in one direction, and that'll be just fine, because then you can do seam locking. What I showed you when we were doing this during the lesson was to iron the seam allowances toward the solid block. Now that creates just a little subtle difference. It'll make this solid block look like it's standing up just a little bit. This is what we did in the practice quilt that we did. So that's what we're going to do here as well. So we're going to iron the seam allowances toward the solid block. So there's that. And there. And there. There. But like I said, you could choose to just iron them all one direction, and frankly that would be just fine. Give it some steam. There we go, that one's done. Set that aside, grab the next one. I'm not going to put you through the fast forward version here, because I got some feedback when I first tried this POV cam that because I have to move my head around so much, and of course the camera's attached to my head, it got kind of dizzying in fast forward. So I'm going to do this one, the slow version, and then we'll just cut to it being done. That way you don't have to get seasick watching my head move around really fast. I said I'm still learning how to use some of this equipment. There we go, that one's done. Set that one aside. Okay, so now I'm just going to do all of the others the exact same way. Okay, here's the last one. Remember, we're choosing to iron the seam allowances toward the solid block. But you could just as easily have ironed them all in the same direction. It really wouldn't make that huge of a difference. There's a really subtle difference in the finished product. Give it the steam. There we go. All right, so that is the end of step 6.
Okay, the rows are all done, so check that one off.